Yogi Berra once said, baseball is 90% mental, the other half is physical. The Pitcher's Dad podcast, hosted by Joe Lorenzini, has the mental half covered. His kids take care of the rest. And now, without further ado,
so there it is. There's the intro.
There it is.
Chelsea, DeAnda, thanks for coming.
So much for having me.
Yeah, so you were asking the intro, so I was getting ready to tell you, and I thought, hey, I know I can just explain it. So Joey's Little League buddies, his childhood friends, are on the Sarah high school team, and they meet up at Scott Boras starts a tournament. It's called the Boras Classic, and it's cool because you get the top baseball teams from the Northern California. There's a Southern California version too, and those are his buddies. But he hasn't seen them in a couple. I mean, he'll see them, whatever. And anyhow, he was doing pretty good. And he finally gives up a hit to one of his buddy's little brothers, I think it was. And they scream out, "Put that on the podcast." And I didn't even catch it. It was funny because somebody says, they told me like the next day, they're all, "Hey, did you hear the kids saying, put it on the pod?" And I'm like, "No." And Joey's like, "Oh man, that was so funny." And I'm like, "Oh, I got to go back and listen for that clip." So essentially, that's what it was.
And you always want to strike out your friends, like even like former teammates or anything like that. I mean, like in high school when you're facing like your travel ball teammates, all that, like you want to strike them out.
Oh, there's no doubt, right?
Like it's a bragging rights or whatever. You know, it's like good competition.
And he had, I was talking to Matt Jones last week, who's his high school coach, and we're just saying how that was a great game for him. You know, it was a good. It wasn't the ending of his high school career, but it was towards the end of it. And it was just a cool period that he got to go back out. He performed well. I'll often talk about, I just want to see good baseball. I think he threw good pitches. Some of the kids that I like a lot of the kids on the team, but had really good at bats. So it was cool.
Like
and
some of the best games you'll pitch, you'll lose sometimes.
Yeah. So Matt Jones said it best. He said, in baseball, it's possible to do everything right and still lose.
Totally.
Yeah. So I really appreciate you coming on and coming out here. This is so awesome.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. You're definitely the first person I've had on where like, hey, we're not friends. Now we're friends. Now I've had you over my house, so we're friends.
Yeah, we ran into each other at that Whitney Rockland game. And I was like, hey, are you the pitcher's dad? I was like, you're kind of famous now.
Yeah, that was so good because that was, wasn't that district finals? Or,
Yeah, I was at Sac State.
Yeah, it was at Sac State.
Watching Peyton Pryor.
Yes. And so, I mean, it is ironic that you have probably coached a majority of the softball dads pitchers.
Yeah, so I'm not a softball mom, but I work with a lot of softball moms and dads.
Yeah. So fill me in. Tell me a little bit about yourself. Maybe start with your career, what you did, and now what you're doing.
All right. Well, I grew up in the Sacramento area, travel ball circuit, all of that. Played locally. Played a little bit for a team down in Central Cal, SoCal, and just did all of that. And then I went to Folsom High School too. Local kid, and went through the whole recruiting journey through here, and the craziness, the excitement, all of that. And then that led me to, I went to UOP, University of the Pacific, got a full ride.
Go Tigers.
Yep. And from there, I played a little bit in Europe, like for one season, but that was just for fun, honestly. Like for
cool
me,
experience though, right?
It's a free ride for me to go travel.
Heck yeah.
Yeah. And the cool thing about that was, so one of my former travel teammates, Facebook was relatively new at that time, and I'm on my way to SFO, and I put on my status was like going to Netherlands, blah blah blah, and then Emma hit me up on my way to SFO, and she was like, "Hey, I got picked up from a team too." She went to Louisiana Tech, and her and I were like buddies, but really like not just like former teammates, like good friends.
Awesome.
And so that was really cool because she played for a different team, but I had kind of like a travel buddy there and
another American probably.
Yeah.
Or like just someone you know.
Totally. And so that was really cool because we didn't play on the same team, but I had a little travel buddy, went to Italy, all of that. And so
that's cool.
Yeah. So then here I am.
Yeah. I got to do a little bit of travel in middle school. We went to Germany with our soccer team, and that was fun. And so I think it's that must have been really exciting.
Oh, totally. And then I look back, I mean, back when I played back in the olden days.
Yeah. Back in my day.
You know, ASA Nationals was, you know, like the equivalent of like what PGF is now.
Okay.
So looking back at it, I mean, there was a different venue every single time across the country. So got to go to Georgia, you know,
wow.
it was in a different state every single time. So I'm super grateful for that. Like places I normally wouldn't have gone to.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Now,
So
I don't want to date because you know what I mean. But you high school graduated what year?
2005.
Oh, wow. Okay. What's that really low? So then we're talking early 2000s is your
Yeah.
travel ball, like the recruiting process. So people know, hey, you know, what that was. And then you go to Netherlands and you play for 1 year. And
Yeah.
then you get to travel around. And so you're saying ASA was,
That was it.
that was the thing.
ASA Nationals, right? That's where you wanted to go. I mean, then we also had, we had showcases, all of that. I mean, Colorado, that's the same stuff.
Oh, so the sparkler was still going on. Okay.
Yeah.
And it's funny because parents often ask me, like, I don't think we went to Sparkler until Sav was maybe 14.
Yeah, I think it's the same age. I played up. I
think she was 14. And so, you know, people go, it's wild. It's like, even just going to LA. So when we were little, when we moved here and she was in 5th grade and their team would make it. But even before that, 3rd grade, 4th grade, and we're down the Bay Area, and they would play B tournaments, and then they'd win. We got a national berth, and we go down to LA, we get our butts kicked,
Right.
you know.
It's a good measuring stick.
Oh man, but it was just funny because I think of, and we talked about this, like the recruiting that you went through, and then
Totally
now,
different.
right? So you get done playing, and then what do you do?
So I started doing pitching lessons. So I used to do pitching lessons just kind of for fun and make a little kind of like side gig between college seasons and enjoyed it. And I got my degree, but
okay. What'd you get a degree in?
Communication. So I'll be perfectly honest with you. I mean, I started sports management. I could read the writing on the wall right away. I'm like math. I did like micro, whatever econ. I'm like, this is not going to work out.
Right. You're like, this isn't going to work.
This is not going to work.
Was UOP pretty cool about like now having a student athlete? Was UOP cool with your classes, or were they, hey?
I think
classes?
with my degree, yes. I mean, that's pretty. I'm not trying to be an engineer.
Yeah.
But I did. I mean, there were some. I mean, there were some athletes that I noticed that were in like the dental program, or engineers. But I know obviously there's some programs that it's like that's a no go. That's not going to work. I forget how many credits an engineer has to have to like cumulative credits or whatever. But yeah,
we had some friends from high school. Erica, it was Reynolds at the time. She played softball, and so she would have been 98, 99. That we graduated in 97. So, and then her husband Aaron. I think it's pronounced Velichko. So they have a daughter, McKenna, who's a stud basketball player, and they both went to UOP.
Awesome.
I think he played hoops and stuff. So they speak very highly of UOP. I think. Did you enjoy that experience at UOP?
It was awesome.
That's cool.
It's funny because like what you think you want in the recruiting process versus like reality, when it really like comes down to making a decision. I thought I wanted to go to a bigger school, with a big football program, with the complete opposite.
Yeah.
I went to the smallest school out of all my choices with no football program.
Can you highlight how that went for you? Like you're pitching, you're playing ASA, you're going all over the place. Obviously you were good. And then you want to do something, we often talk about this, like you think you know what you want.
Totally.
And then you go and you're like, wait, this actually is what I need.
I think a portion, absolutely, like looking in retrospect, I think me being closer to home was absolutely a factor for me. I am an only child.
Okay.
Yeah. So
you're like, I don't want to give up on that golden status just quite yet.
It was important for me, for my parents to be able to see my games.
That
was definitely, I think, a factor, but everything else kind of lined up. The hard part for me was all my visits, and all of them were incredible.
Oh, really?
There's nothing that was like, heck no, this is not going to work out. They were all amazing in their own right. So, I mean, there's one that was out of state.
Everything
Florida.
else was in state?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then from there, I mean, I definitely felt wanted, which is, I mean, I talked with my pitchers about that all the time. Is like, I want to feel like I wanted it, really wanted, and not playing games. I really got that feeling from all those schools. So
what were some of the schools?
So kind of narrowed down my visits to, I canceled one visit last second. That didn't go over.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I kind of wanted to, but I got sidetracked there.
No, you're fine. I think.
Yeah. So that's another story. But Central Florida, Fresno State, Cal Poly, and then UOP. And then I canceled one. Just in my heart, like in my gut, I kind of just going because my mom wanted me to go.
Statute of limitations is done. You can say who it was.
It was Northridge.
Okay.
Yeah. And it's nothing against the program or anything. My gut just wasn't, I just didn't want to waste their time, really.
Plus, if you think about the schools you just mentioned, like they all have a pretty cool vibe. Yeah. You know what I mean? And so Central Florida would have been dope too.
Totally. That was a fun visit. And and so one of my,
what a different world though, right? To be on the East Coast.
Oh, it was, but it was funny because when I showed up, there was that like post having a hurricane, or I forget which hurricane it was. So I was like, okay,
you're not in Kansas
there's hurricane season. That wasn't like the deal breaker for me, but one of my teammates, a pitcher, her and I were pretty tight. She's from the Fresno area, played for a team down in Fresno. Her and I both got recruited. So we both went on our official visits together. She ended up going there, had a great experience. So it just, I don't know. When it's like so annoying because it's like when you know, and I know when my pitchers are talking to me, they're like, give me something. I'm like, well, you got to look at like, okay, do you picture yourself really being there? Say if you weren't playing.
Right.
I mean, just the vibe with the coach. I mean, the campus, like it's
insane.
Degree. It's so many, it's just, there's a lot of layers to it.
Yeah. I had posted something yesterday, a pop-up. So we're at this time last year, and Savannah, I take her down to Southern California for a Syracuse camp because I'm like, well, I don't want to go to New York. They had asked her to come out, and I'm like, it was prior to September 1st. And we go down there, and in hindsight, it was a waste of time.
Yeah.
But it was great one-on-one time with my daughter. I got to put her in an uncomfortable position, which is what I was kind of alluding to. Like, hey, this is what we're doing, And to your point, this stuff, when you go there, you'll just know.
Totally. You do. You just, I don't know. And it's also, you kind of get a feel for the team too. I mean, I've heard some crazy stuff. They're going to wine and dine you, if you will, really put lay it on thick with that. But I mean, you'd be surprised. I mean, I've heard some stuff from like some of my girls, their visits, they're like, don't come here. Yeah. And that was crazy for me because I've been a host many times with recruits. And it's like, you're just trying to really, we're trying to sell them, but we're kind of checking you out too.
Yeah. You're saying that you've had pitchers go on visits and then the host is telling them.
That's only happened one time
No, we've had it happen.
And that was crazy
that
to
happening
me.
Because you're thinking, man, how out of touch is the coach that you put me with
they're
this
like,
player?
They're like warning you. Like, like blink.
Yeah.
Like give me signs.
Yeah. Please blink if you're having, if you need help. So then you end up picking UOP, and you think it was the location or just a little bit of everything?
I think also too, because Cal Poly was, I would say I narrowed it down to Cal Poly and UOP. But what kind of happened on my recruiting visit at Cal Poly it was a different coach when I showed up. So that kind of threw me off a little bit. It's like, do you really know me?
Yeah,
that type of thing. So, and I really wanted someone that had kind of that storied history, that history there, to like, you're not leaving. And now it's just totally different in the college world, like with people moving a lot. I just wanted someone that was just settled there in the program and having like that tradition, I guess.
So the coach that you played for at UOP, how long had they been there? How long did they stay there?
He recently retired. I think it was, don't quote me on it, like maybe 25 years, something like that.
With Savannah, it was similar to that sense where we had gone to quote unquote bigger schools, and then we went to Coastal where she picked. And I remember Angel and I looking at each other and we're like, man, this is such a cool vibe.
Right.
The coach has been here forever. The assistant coaches played here for her.
Mm-hmm.
Like we started to realize this theme that we liked.
Yeah.
And similar to Joey, in a different way, Arkansas is huge, but Dave Van Horn's been there for 20 plus years. His assistants and some of the recruiting coordinators played for him or played at a high level. Now, they're two different worlds. I'm not going to say that they're the same, but the similarities in what we liked as parents and what the kids are learning that they enjoy is that there is some stability there.
Yeah. And I think at the end of the day, like beyond being a softball or baseball player, you want them to be taken care of as a human being, right? To where like all those different, I mean, being on their own, all of that, not that they're going to be mom and dad, but you know what I'm saying? To where,
I do, because I think with Joey, Arkansas, let's call it what it is. I mean, you need to perform.
Yeah.
There is no and Coastal Carolina, they're going to expect her to perform also. What I mean though is we did feel a little bit different with our daughter than with our son, where we're kind of we cared less about the nurturing and more about the development of a player. Now, granted, in boys, you can go play for a living, right?
Absolutely.
In girls, we're not talking about that. So there was different guidelines to that, or I don't know guidelines, but different things we were looking for as parents.
Right.
And luckily, I think both kids came. We helped guide them. I mean, where do you fall out on that with parents when it comes to recruiting? How much they should be involved? How much maybe you should be involved? How much obviously the kids involved? But where do you see that stuff?
I just feel like no one's gonna be more vested than yourself and your family when it comes to that. So, I mean, obviously being in the right program, travel ball wise, I think it's absolutely a factor. But at the end of the day, I mean, it's you and your parents that have the most vested in it. So, I mean, I'll be honest, my mom did everything.
Okay.
She did a lot. I think my mom still has all the binders full of all my emails and course, but she's misorganized, but I mean, she did a lot.
And that paid off though, right?
It did.
You got to the right spot. Now who do you think your mom leaned on back then for that information?
No one.
Oh, really? She just did it.
You just figure it out. Yeah. I mean, I didn't do, a video or anything. I mean, nothing like that. I mean, I just was playing.
Yeah. And as a pitcher, right, it's the metrics are what they are.
Yeah.
The who you are, right, is
right.
what I think they can look at that. And, it's a different era, right? You're saying, hey, Facebook was just coming out when you're going to
There were things that we learned along the way though, that were like, oops, I guess we kind of screwed that up a little bit. Like, I mean, I had a school that, back in the olden days, right? I was getting handwritten letters before, that was kind of okay, it's not just a typed up kind of whatever, that's actually them writing it out before they could actually talk to me, in person. I forget the whole.
Yeah, because the rules have changed.
Yeah, I forget
5 times since
totally.
You've gone through it. Yeah,
and I feel like when it was legit to have that phone call, they're like, "Oh yeah, give us a call," and my dad made the call.
Oh yeah.
Never heard from them ever again.
Because they're thinking, wait a minute.
Yeah, so that was a misstep. But who knows if they who's to say I was their number one, right? You know what I mean? They could have found that in the pecking order right there.
We talk about that though, if they really want you,
sure,
they would pull you in and say, hey, listen, thanks for having your dad call us. Just, we want to hear from you, or
totally.
Because I'm thinking now as a coach, or I'm going to put my coach hat on, if I really want the player and that's the worst thing that they did,
right,
we can work through that.
Yeah.
Or at least we can talk more to figure out if that's a real problem.
Yeah. I don't think it was the deal breaker. I think it's looking at it. It's okay, buck up, make the phone call, right?
100%.
And buck up, do that. And then, but I don't think it was the nail in the coffin, you said with that. It's just, they found someone that they just like better. And that's how it goes.
We just got home from Arkansas.
I'm just going to ask you about that.
Yeah. So it was, we went for brush week. So Joey's girlfriend is there and she's been planning the sorority thing for the last, 4 years of her life. That was insane.
Oh, it's a different level out there.
It, she did great. She did it was a different world. Yeah. I'm used to sports. I'm used to, if you put in the work, you're not always going to succeed, but you get to see your success and you can really do this. The sorority thing, it worked out. It's all worked out for her, but it's just to see all the work and the there's no checks and balances. You can do everything right. And like we talked about earlier, right? You could do everything right and still it doesn't work out. And boy, as a dad of a daughter, I'm really excited that she likes that. And I'm really excited that my daughter played softball.
Yeah.
Because for all intents and purposes, it's a popularity contest and the beauty pageant. And it's really difficult. I saw a lot of girls that were unfortunately they didn't get what they wanted. And so that was sad to just see kids who were going into the pinnacle of their life at this big college. And but if I step back from it, I also feel like exactly what I said yesterday in that post about those girls are going to learn what rejection feels like. Maybe they've never heard no before in their life, and they're going to wake up the next day and understand that life goes on.
And you're going to find your people too.
And you're going to find, and my wife, she's come up with this great thing about, your tribe, kind of like, hey, you're going to find your people. And so when I look at that for softball, a lot of people say like travel ball teams and team hopping and all these different terminologies. And it reminds me of with when I was coaching and it's, the coach's kid, or daddy ball, right? That phrase. And it's like, well, for every one of those, there's also the kid who doesn't get the love from his parent because he's trying to be too hard and counterbalance that. And so with travel ball teams and when you trying to find your people, you say, oh, well, he just, just toxic people, toxic whatever. And it's like sometimes, and then sometimes it's just like, this doesn't align with what we're trying to do.
Just not jiving.
Yeah. Because I think, and I don't know, have you seen this where some coaches, they just want to win and they don't want to develop?
Yeah. And it's just like, if you work on the development, the winning's going to take care of itself.
Take care of, yes.
So
how much do you, in pitching, do you talk to your players about what you think is acceptable pitch counts and innings and, where do you stand on all that stuff?
So interesting because, back when I played, there was just this idea of that, throwing underhand's a natural motion. Mm-hmm. And so I threw a ton, crazy amount, but just because I want better for my kids. And there's just a lot more data out there now that's like, no, there's that repetitive motion, when it comes to pitch count. So I've definitely done my research when it comes to that. When it comes to pitch count, it's going to be difficult on the pitcher because they don't want to compete. But also too, you're going to have to kind of hold that line. When I talk to them, like when it comes to their coach, some coaches are really good about it and really have that discipline and care when it comes to their pitchers. And some lose sight of that a little bit, but you kind of have to, advocate for yourself and kind of right from the jump, I think, let them know like, this is where I'm at, pitch count wise. And if that's not working with them, I think you might want to look at elsewhere.
Because
big picture here on
you're
your arm.
You're going to be your best advocate, right? Your own best advocate. I liken it to where people are just too nervous to speak up or, they don't want to lose playing time, and kind of back to that whole, like, if you're good, it'll work out. But also if you just set expectations,
Right.
And I can think of a player that you coached that I won't even get into, but she tried to set those expectations and then it wasn't met. And so, okay, cool. We'll go do something else. And I think, I remember talking to that parent and thinking, I think that's the right decision because I'm a parent of a pitcher and I have been so fortunate that communication has been key with every coach and every, and now that he's in a facility like he's at, I don't have to say anything anymore. He knows what his body's good at. They know what they're good at. And like, they've forgotten more than I'll ever know. Right. So I don't even, when they're little, 8, 9, 10, now you said your daughter is not playing softball yet, or she won't play at all. You don't think?
Who knows? We're just trying to figure out wherever she leads me.
Cool.
Just figuring out what makes her tick a little bit. But, once a coach, always a coach. I
bet.
There's something refreshing about the idea about me knowing nothing about what they're doing. But even then I can't even help myself. I had a moment where I was like, oh my gosh, I'm that parent right now. So I posted something with my daughter about doing gymnastics or something like that. Mm-hmm. And I didn't even realize I was doing it. And in the video, I was coaching her from the sideline. And my mom called me out. She's like, "No, coaching from the sideline." I was like, "Oh my gosh, what have I become?"
Oh my gosh.
No, but it's just you want it so bad for your kid. You know, I'm trying to help. It's like, no, you're not.
Yeah,
you're not.
yeah.
You're not.
Yeah, you're trying to help, but maybe
me
you
of all
aren't.
people should know better, right?
Right.
And so
Right.
I was like, "Oh my gosh, I just want to crawl in a ball right now. This is so bad." But good. Thank you, Mom, for calling me out on that. But
yeah, I think we all are always, I mean, as soon as you turn your brain off from taking in constructive criticism, you're done, you know?
Oh, definitely. So how do you feel now that your son's moved in? I mean, how is that leaving?
It's it was good that I did it back at the end of June. Then Angel came out this week, and she got to experience a little bit of what I experienced back in June. And I told her, I said, I'm really happy we got to do this together.
Yeah.
Because I think when your kid goes off, you there's a part of you that's missing. And we had talked to our friend Michelle, the mom of Addie, and so her daughter's already at TCU, and she hit the nail on the head. She said, "How do you deal with it?" She said, "Well, instead of getting the whole day now, you just get these moments, and so you really just like when they call, you drop everything. Hey, listen, I'm really sorry, I got to take this call because you don't know if you're going to get a call from the next day or whatever, and whatever it is they're calling, even if it's like, hey, I need $20 for whatever, right. You're just like, okay, then you're just like,
I'm gonna take
it.
What
do I get? What do I get with that? But more importantly, I think just a sense like a pride, that like
Mission
he's
accomplished.
handling himself well and he's doing well. I think like a byproduct has been Savannah has really hit this new maturity solo. She's always gone. And we're like, hey, where you at? Oh, I'm out with my friends. I think she now misses her brother. So also she's like just staying busier. And then a lot of her friends, because she's always kind of played up, her friends are going off to college and or have left. And so she was at all these parties and, grad parties and stuff.
Yeah.
And so she's probably dealing with her own sort of loss.
Reality.
Yeah.
And her going away to school and what that all means.
Sure. I think the irony is that like, I don't know how I'm going to, we got to meet. So super, super random. We're looking at a property to buy when we're out there to maybe either get a rental property or just buy something small because we plan on being there a lot. Like, similar to what you said about your parents wanting to be at all the games. Like, I don't want to miss an inning. I've never missed an inning for no reason, just because I couldn't make it. Like, so anyways, I walk into the house and guy's like, hey, nice to see you. I go, hey. And he goes, what can I help? What brings you into town? I go, well, it's kind of random, but I'm from California. My kid starting on the baseball team, and I'm actually a realtor in California, but I'm out here looking. And he goes, you're never going to believe this. He goes, I'm from California. My son's on the baseball team, and I'm a realtor here. And it's like, bing, bing, bing,
wow.
All these like, and it was funny. So I'm like, oh, hey, that's awesome. Yeah. And so
you understand my crazy.
And so then he's explaining how they moved from Southern California and they came out and they have a sophomore that's actually going to high school now in Arkansas. And now they had connections to Arkansas. It wasn't like they just, hey, let's just follow or move or anything. But it was a great connection. And I think back to that tribe thing, and I've talked about this a lot. It's, it's hard when you have a kid that excels and then you don't feel like the group you're with are all pulling for your kid. And I don't know that anybody has any malicious, like, oh, I hope your kid sucks. But you do start to feel this sense of like, man, I don't want to boast about my kid because I feel like I'm boasting. And then when you get to the next level, there's this mutual respect amongst parents because you now at that next level, I'm sure there will be a new vibe, right?
Every single person is good on the team.
Yeah.
Every single person is the hometown hero, right?
Yes. And I think, to a certain extent, the high school varsity teams, right? They're all good. They're all good players, but not everybody has that same desire, what did you find was the biggest difference between your high school teammates and your college teammates?
Gosh, that's a good question. Everyone's it's a bunch of alpha females on a college team. And so I would say it can get tricky a little bit in the college world. I'm not going to lie to you. You're spending a lot of time together. So the bonds are really, really tight. They're friends you're going to have for life. I mean, I think all my bridesmaids, my wedding, were former teammates from college.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Actually, yeah, every single one of them.
Yeah.
And so, you're kind of in the suck together, like with the grind, if you will. So there's an understanding of there's times where you can't stand your coach. There's times where you can't, to where it's just like, oh, we got to run again. It's nothing against my coach or anything like that, but there's times where it's tough, right? And so
there's only a certain amount of people that can truly
understand that. So there is, it runs deep, like that connection that you have. And that's what I really try to tell my pitchers. I'm like, you're going to work the hardest you ever have, but that's how bonded you get. But also too, it's competitive, that's an understatement, but I mean, there's girl stuff that can kind of happen.
I bet.
There's been some stuff in the locker room that has gone down, and it's just how it goes, but it's kind of like a short-term marriage. 4 years, you got to figure it out. You got to figure it out. You got to be good teammates.
And no portal when you were there, right?
No portal.
Okay, so you were there, and it was like, I mean, you could have left, but obviously not without.
I probably would have been in the portal. I'd say my freshman year. I will just say that, but it all worked out.
Was that a teammate chemistry, a whole, like, talk more about that. I mean, I think that's huge, right? A lot of people, if you could have, you would have, but you didn't.
I didn't, and it worked
enjoying
out.
It.
Yeah, I did. And again, my experience can be completely different from. I think there's a lot of great things about the portal personally, but also I think there's some things that I'm not crazy about too. I do think it keeps coaches accountable in a way, to where we've got that freedom to kind of move around if you do. And you're not going to lose eligibility, but it was just a mixture of things. I don't want to.
I get it. I get it.
I would say, I think freshman year is always an adjustment. I think it was a little bit of that, but just some dynamics in some coaching. And, I kind of hit a breaking point, kind of became kind of like a shell of a person, honestly, who I was, started to really just kind of go downhill just mentally. And it started to reflect in my pitching. So that, and my grades. So that was rough. And then
everything, though, right?
So just every kind of aspect of just my life. And then I just worked my ass off over the summer, and we had a coaching change, and I kind of went off that year. So I just kind of went back to who I was a little bit, had a little more experience, like under my belt, playing at the college level. I mean, 1 year, but so.
But it's almost like a portal in a sense, where if you had a coaching change,
it was
something did change.
Something did change, and then we went to regionals that year. Had a great year. And it was kind of off to the races. Kind of remember who I was again, So it was. Awesome. So in a way, I mean, I'll be honest. I didn't really ever struggle.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Not to be like full of myself.
Yeah.
I never really had that much adversity, if you will, in my pitching as much. So in a way, it's kind of a blessing, because I feel like I can, just talk to my pitchers about that mental part of it, of struggling with your game. And not saying I never had.
No, I think,
but I'm talking like a real dark spot in my.
Like, should I even be doing this anymore?
Yeah, like I'm talking to where do I need to hang it up?
Yeah, right.
Like that.
Especially, I can only imagine, and like I can think of this with my kids is like, you said, hey, I wanted to go to this bigger school,
right?
Or I wanted to go to this thing. I thought there's this thing, and then you the word settle is really shitty. I don't mean it in a settle sense, but like, you end up here, then you start to not have success, and then you start to do this full circle wind up of like, oh my God, had I gone to that school, I would really be like, oh my, and
go down the rabbit hole with
you're
that.
18, 19 years old,
right?
Dealing with what is, the biggest time of your life, because you haven't lived that, you know what I mean? And it's gotta be hard.
And that's just like my experience playing. I just try to prepare my pitchers as much as you can. I said, look, you're going to be hearing far more what you need to be doing better.
Yeah.
If you get a good job, take that.
Take it. Yeah.
Take it. I mean, it's business. I mean, to where like you're having to sit down, you're having your closing meetings, all of that. So buckle up. That's again, like we're your teammates, like where we're kind of all in it together, to where it's like at the end of the day, you do want that validation from your coach. But at the end of the day, it's like, it's us that's playing the game.
Yeah.
And this we're the ones going to win this. This is where we're going to gel. That's where you kind of lean in. So that, again, that's where those bonds get really tight.
Yeah. And it's like with a coach, I think, God, of course, when I'm coaching, I want to win. I want my time that I spend on anything I do in life to be worth it and quality and all this and that. But ultimately, if you don't do good, well, I can find someone else to put in that spot, and then I'll be happy again.
Right.
With us, when we're playing, now that I'm the player, if I don't do good, how do I do good?
Right.
Like I can't replace myself.
Right.
And so do you get a lot of, like, how long have you been doing the pitching coaching?
15 years.
So how often do you get calls or texts from girls that you are down in college, and do you keep that?
Yeah, those lines are always open. I'm like, hey,
That's pretty cool.
It doesn't even have to be. But when I send my girls off, I'm like, you got to build that I'm always there, but it's time for you to build that relationship with your coach. Your pitching coach there,
sure.
Like to where I'm not going to step. We got to buy in to the program.
Right.
We have to build that bond with your pitching coach at school.
Yeah, the bond you have with me, now you need to build it with them.
You do, because you're spending a lot of time together.
Yeah.
And it's important. So yeah, I'm always there, just kind of emotional support, the highs and lows, the social dynamics of a team and all of that. But yeah, I'm always there. I mean, if they're stuck with something, ask me something, but I'm like, look, I'm hands off a little bit, in that regard, because I just don't want to step on anybody's toes, but they really have to build that with their pitching coach. And that's really it.
Yeah. I think Joey, his pitching coach here played in the major leagues and runs his facility and does all this and that. And it was cool because we ran into him the other day at an A's game, and he was like, oh man, it's awesome. I think Joey will text him kind of like a proud kid, like, hey, I did I finally got this,
I love that.
And so they have a cool bond, right? Where he's not asking, hey, what should I do this and that? Because that's just not Joey's style. But like, I also feel like and something's going to go wrong, right? Somehow, some way.
Totally.
The pitch is not going to spin anymore the way it used to spin or something. And I love that he probably can reach out and be like, hey, what was the thing we used to do? What
that
was
little
the thing?
Trigger word.
What was that? And I know that Ryan will be there for him, which is cool. And to your point, I think Ryan understands too, hey, dude, you're at one of the best facilities in the world with some of the best coaches in the world. Like,
right.
In what's the word I'm looking for? But just get in there and just embrace it all, and Joey has. He's always known that, but
definitely. Cool. And my hope always is like when when they go, hopefully I've done my job well enough to where they're for me, it's like, I think you're your own best coach. Right. And so for me, I just want them, in our process, from beginning to end, to really kind of understand who they are and what they have to feel on point, right? To where, and like what, warm ups, like what everyone's process is different. Everyone's warm ups different. Like just knowing yourself as a pitcher and just what makes you tick, and just kind of how to reset or to kind of get back to feeling, back, I don't know, just back on point again. So that's my hope always, to build kind of you're not relying on me. Like I'm there, I'm your but the goal is that towards the end is that really they're just self-sufficient and have that, because there's just like confidence that comes with that. It's like, you're the one that's in the driver's seat. You're the one that's making that adjustment. Right. And I always like try to reiterate that. I'm like, I don't have a magic wand
to make you better.
No, like I'm going to tell you, hey, like we need to do this with our glove or whatever. I'm like, but it's you that's making the adjustment. You did it, not me.
Right.
Right. So that's really what I try to build them up confidence wise, to where it's like, you've got the tools and you've got the know-how, right, to kind of work out of it. Obviously we need an extra set of eyes at times. Like, hey, like we're not really feeling something, but that's always my hope for at the end.
Do you like your pitchers to send you video of stuff, or, now get rid of college. We're in high school.
Okay.
We're in 8, 10 U, 10, 12U, whatever. Do the parents ever send you videos
Oh,
of
yeah.
stuff? Okay.
Yeah.
And then you're able to just kind of.
Yeah. I got my Game Changer account. I like to stalk my kids on Game Changer.
That's awesome.
It's so funny because like when I'm watching it, because I have freedom just to kind of say where the heck I want, I'm like, the strike, when I'm watching, I'm like, can squeeze, but it's really, I mean, it's just so awesome now how we can just, on my phone, I can just watch my kids and just see it. And it's really valuable. I mean, cause like sometimes just a big thing is things are not translating, maybe from, the cage to the field or whatever. But yeah, I definitely see a lot of video.
Yeah. I think, I'm trying to debate whether I want to offer. So when Joey came back from his surgery, I bought this big fancy camera and this big lens. And I remember the coach at Florida saying, "Hey man, whoever does your video it's impressive. Like we're offering you because of this video,
Oh, nice.
And I was like, oh, that's me. You know what I mean? Like, hey, like I've gotten good at it. Right. And so like Peyton Pryor, I made a video for her last year, because I was like, hey, I'm going to do it.
She's the best kid.
Oh, she's great. And Christy and Alan and Frank, they're all great. You know? And so I was talking to Angel and she's like, hey, you should offer. And so I'm thinking about doing that, like another little, I love sports, love being out there, but maybe offering like a video service for pitchers. I mean, I could do it for position players, but pitchers is my thing. So I'm like, hey, get some high quality video of your kid for recruitment videos, stuff like that. But it's good to hear that you like to look at it too, because I'm sure it just helps. Same thing you're looking at, a college coach is looking at is, Game Changer video is not that great, but you can get an idea of what's happening.
Yeah. And like sometimes I'll see stuff. I'm like, okay, well, your catcher's a little bit out of the zone, and it's not me trying to, but it's just, I'm like, I think that's why your ball's running out a little bit too much. I mean, that's
throwing
like
to your catcher.
Like just like little things like that, but it just helps me get a vibe.
Sure.
Yeah.
What, when is I'll tell a funny story and then my question is, when do you think kids should start going to pitching lessons and start going to things? And I'll preface this with, I think Savannah's about 8 years old, and Nicole Borg, who is now the head coach at CSM College San Mateo in San Mateo. Now she pitched Tennessee. She went to high school.
I know exactly who she is. Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know her personally, but I know who she is. Yeah.
She's awesome.
Great program.
She's awesome. So
beautiful school too, by the way.
Yeah. Oh, it's so cool.
Yeah.
So her and Angel, they all grew up together in the same grade, everything like that. So Savannah's, I don't know, she's 7, maybe. I don't know how old she was. We're like, oh, and pitching. I'm like, I don't know how to do, Joey does pitching in baseball. I can do that. I've pitched in baseball, but I've never done softball. So take her up to CSM, and Nicole's like, hey, I'll see Savannah, kind of help her out. Now, Angel, my wife, is a labor and delivery nurse. So Nicole and her wife had just had their baby. And so Angel had delivered. And so Savannah, mind you, she's 7. So she doesn't understand the world, right?
Yeah.
And so I first learned that, when you come to a pitching lesson, you, the father, shall pay for the lesson and then also catch the lesson. That was different. I did not know that.
You show up in flip-flops or something?
Oh, yeah. I didn't have a glove. Or she's like, well, dude, who's going to catch? I'm like, well, you're going to, I don't know, And so I'm like, oh, that's funny. But anyways, she starts pitching, goes, hey, Savannah could, and I just realized like, okay, the pitching is not for, like, she probably would have been a great pitcher. I just didn't have the dedication that it was going to take for that. Where like with Joey, he could go out and do it. And it was a little different. But anyways, the funny part of the story was I say, oh, how is your wife and the baby doing? And Savannah looks at me. She starts cracking up. She's like, you said her wife. What are you talking about? She doesn't have a wife. I said, you'll learn one day. So we still laugh about that.
Yeah, it's so cute.
And so
the honesty of children.
Yeah. And Nicole's great. And she laughed. And we still keep in touch, because she was really helpful when we were going to go to Tennessee. She said, hey, I really like, this and this. And she runs a phenomenal program up there, and they freaking kick butt.
They do. Yeah. I helped out with Sierra College a little bit. And so just intermittently, but yeah, so that field is so, you're overlooking the whole entire bay.
Yeah. It's
incredible.
It's pretty cool. And I didn't realize, I was looking at something recently, but she has some of our old high school dads are on the coaching. It's pretty cool. They've kept a good, I don't know it well enough because I don't live down there, but it seems like they've kept a cool vibe. But So what age do you think you like to start seeing kids, or does that totally vary on
I
the
think
kid?
it varies, but I mean, if they can keep their attention span, for a half hour, let's go for it. I mean, I work with kids from like probably 8 on up. I mean, I think there's something to be said not having to, I don't know, unlearn some bad mechanics.
Yeah, no, I could like Joey didn't see a professional pitching coach. Now, mind you, his aging godfather pitched in the big leagues and was around him ever since he was 7. So it was like, yeah, he didn't have a professional pitching coach, but like he had someone over him that knew.
Just getting the base down.
But I think to your point, you can learn a lot of bad habits that are really hard to get out of, because you might find success with a bad habit that won't translate later.
Right.
Right.
And also too, I mean, like at the end of the day, like we want them to have fun, but like also having fun is competing and like not being able to throw the ball across the plate. Like say if you're 8 years old, right? So just getting them to participate, effectively. I mean, obviously we're not expecting perfection at 8 years old. Come on.
Yeah,
but
right.
Giving them a good base, or like where they're getting the ball across the plate to where the ball actually gets hit.
Yeah. You're throwing strikes.
Yeah. Like to where even it gets hit, it's like, yeah, we're not walking everyone. Then kind of comes fun, and then they maybe catch the bug a little bit.
Yeah. And you start to want it and build that desire.
Yeah. And obviously it's, different operation with the 8-year-old, but like, I don't water down the mechanics, like I'm going to teach you right. But also obviously the pace is different, what I mean?
Yeah. For a younger kid.
I just want you to feel like you're getting the ball across the plate, and then we just kind of build and layer, from there. And if they catch the bug, they catch the bug. Awesome.
Yeah. Have you ever had to talk to a parent like, hey, listen, this feels more like it's your thing and not the kid's thing?
Yes.
Quick answer.
Yeah.
Okay. I could see that being the case. You know what I mean? Where you're just like, man, and I know I've had that conversation with parents where I'm just like, hey, I'm not sure how to say this, but you're like way over the top.
It's I've been really fortunate with like a really good group of parents though.
That's cool.
I mean, but yes, I have had to do that. But yeah, sometimes I think they kind of catch my drift a little bit.
I think the biggest positive about you, in hindsight, like just putting this full circle, is like you've had the same players forever.
You're right. Actually, I didn't really think about that.
I mean, that's a pretty cool, like in the baseball world,
see them grow up.
They bounce, like, oh, hey, as soon as a kid doesn't have success, it's like, well, I got to go to the new biggest best thing.
I mean,
you're never going to have attrition,
Oh, I've had kids leave me.
Yeah. But
if you get better with a different coach, that was the right choice. That's what I changed pitching coaches. I mean, it was nothing against the past right there. It's just needed a shift, just something different.
Totally.
But I have been fortunate to have, 10 years or whatever it is. But, I lose kids, it happens.
When I started coaching firecrackers with Russ, it was like 12U, I think. And that's when you were off.
I didn't know you knew Russ. I mean, it's a small world. Hello. No. Yeah.
So
in the real estate thing too. Yeah.
So what happens is Russ and I meet at a fundraiser Toys for Tot tournament. And this is when I still live in the Bay Area. There's nothing, we just meet. And we become friends because Russ is a friendly guy. I'm a friendly guy, whatever. Then I move up here and I'm like, oh, hey, Russ. By the way, Savannah had quit softball.
Oh.
When I met him, she was just playing in the Toys for Tot thing because her girlfriends, one of the dads was running, is, hey, I could use Savannah. I'm like, hey, you want to go play? She's like, sure. She was done with it. And 10 years old or whatever. But I meet Russ and I come up here. And then, as a matter of fact, I called Russ because I was looking for a baseball team for my son. And he lived up here. And he says, hey, call this guy, Matt Pudge, who now I'm friends with. And it was great. And fast forward, Savannah plays rec ball to just meet friends. And then she's going to start to play more aggressively, meaning like, hey, I want to just go play travel ball again. I'm like, okay, cool. She had like 2 years off. And I reach out to Russ and he was coaching Gabby's team at the time. And I think he had just gotten into real estate at that time. And then I said, hey, who would you recommend? And he goes, well, listen, I'm going to start this team. And, if you know Russ, what I'm saying is like, he's telling you, but it's going to happen. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And it's just like, okay.
Yep.
So we join a team kind of midsummer. because Sav says, hey, I want to go play. And this is COVID era maybe. And so anyways, that fall season starts. Russ is starting that brand new team. And I'm like, Sav, do you want to go check out this? Because the team we had joined was separate. We joined midsummer, right? If you can join a team midsummer, and that team was great. It was a good team. We had met some great parents that ended up being future friends and stuff like that. But yeah, I go to the tryout for Firecrackers, and Serena's there, and I had never met her before. And Russ goes, hey, Serena, this is Joe. He's the new coach that I told you about. And I'm like, the what? Like, I was here for like a taste test, tire kicking, like, hey, Savannah, do you want to be in this thing? And he's like, yep. And I'm like, dude, like I was still a cop at the time. And I'm like, hey, how am I going to do? Like, what? Like I work graveyards, He's like, it's fine. Just be here one day. He already
has a carpool lined up.
He already has it all figured out, And so Serena and I have become friends, And so anyways.
Yeah, I grew up playing with Serena.
Yeah. So we're in the facility, and I would always see her in the corner. And I laugh because I didn't know Roxy or Gino at the time, but Roxy would always be in there. And Russ would always be, hey, what's up, Rox? Hey, what's up, Roxy? Always try to get Roxy, And just funny, full circle, how now we're all friends and Savannah's been teammates and stuff like that.
Amazing.
But I'm thinking of all the girls, right? I mean, do you still work with Kennedy?
Yep.
Okay. And then obviously Ayla, you've worked with forever.
Yeah, I've probably about like 2-ish years.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So then like just thinking of all the dads that have been on here, and just cool. I mean, and you have the gamut. I'm sure there's girls I don't know that you work with that, hopefully we often use that, or at least I talk about Ayla in this different sense. And it's probably a discredit to her, when you are that good, you do need to work probably as hard, if not harder. And people think like, oh, well, just naturally, you just are naturally that good. And it's like, that's a discredit to her, because to throw the ball that hard and still pitch a strike,
right?
Because I remember when I first saw her at 12, and she threw the ball extremely hard. I mean, she's become a really great pitcher, and I would argue that she used to be a really hard thrower.
More of a thrower.
Yeah. And so with that velocity, I mean, I see it now with Joey in college. Like, yeah, there's dudes that throw 102, but they might throw it 5 feet in front of home plate. Yeah. Sometimes it's, what do we call it?
Effectively wild.
Effectively wild.
Yeah.
Where do you think you're at with all those kids that you have? I mean, how do you manage that?
It's a different lesson every time.
For sure.
And that's why I have the best job in the world. It's just a different goal, I mean, like with Ayla, I mean, it's just different.
Yeah.
It's very, very different. I mean, a lot of times I'm trying to gain speed with some girls, and that takes some time,
For sure.
Yeah. It's like a hurry up and wait type of situation. But with her, I'm also trying not to, when I have someone like that, I'm also trying not to screw you up.
Right.
Frankly,
right.
To where I'm trying to refine some things, like our focus is more, off speed, really developing that for the next level, and just command and just movement. I don't focus on speed, but just efficiency, with things and off speed. And so it's really different for each player. But with someone like her, it's like I'm trying to refine some things, but also not work out the greatness of, if you will, to where I'm trying to like, I don't want to screw you up too at the same time. So really it's a different hand with her a little bit. So there's work, for sure. But for me, you look at someone like that and you're like, okay, she's throwing 70 something miles per hour. It's like, but there's a but too. It's like, well, there's things like on the mechanics side to where it's like, okay, for our health, things like that with our body, just maintaining that type of force, and throwing a ball, just looking at the big picture. Not that her mechanics are all jacked up, but looking at the efficiency on just keeping her healthy. And
because to throw that hard, I'm sure you're more apt to a hip, a knee, there's a lot of force going through your body, right? I mean,
and so
let alone shoulder, elbows.
Yeah. So like speed is not the focus, with her. It's really just, I mean, what's ahead for her, is working just that off speed and just working the movement, all that type of stuff.
I got to talk to her and Shannon because July came on, right?
Yeah,
and then
I watched that one.
I met Shannon and Ayla down in Southern California, and I was joking like, hey, I heard you would actually be the better host. She's like, oh no, I would say too much, And the one thing I took away was just what a great kid she is. You know, when you talk to her.
Yeah.
And I say that because all I really know in that elite level of player is probably more baseball pitchers. You know, I don't know another. Now, Roxy's a phenomenal pitcher. And so I
Amazing.
think we'll all just say, like, hey, everybody has their spot in this
Oh,
totem pole,
Roxy's-
whatever the right
Roxy's
term.
great.
And Roxy, I know too well. You know what I mean? Like, we just have a great, and she's a fun kid, right? She'll interact with you and she'll joke with you and she's great. And so what I mean by that is, like, in the boys' world, you know, my son included, right? And maybe it's more of a boy thing, but there's like this level of arrogance / confidence / I don't know, machismo. And
wait, you have to have that.
yeah,
You're
yeah.
kidding me?
And with Ayla, it was like, you wouldn't know what that, you know, if you didn't know her, you wouldn't know what she's capable of, I
Right.
guess, in this weird, like, very, very humble, quiet, well-spoken kid that you're just like, dang, dude, are you going to be the CEO of a company? You know, what are you going to do with your
The
life?
quiet confidence.
Quiet confidence. That's probably a good way to put it.
Yeah, but it's, I mean, a lot of my pictures is just, they're easy to root on
Yeah.
because they're just good people.
Well, just in the three I've mentioned, right? Kennedy, Roxy, Ayla. Now, Ayla is the one I know the least. Obviously, Kennedy I coached, and I freaking love that kid.
Me
You know
too.
what I mean? And Justin, I don't love men, but I like Justin, but he's probably one of the biggest hard asses there is, you know? And so.
They were my neighbors, actually.
Oh, really?
That's how I met them. So we moved into
that's
our
too
circle, and, you know, Melanie and Justin came, like, you know, just being awesome people they are, like, hey, welcome. And they're like,
Yeah.
so what do you do? I'm like, usually when I tell people I'm a pigeon coach, they're like, what the heck is that? You know, or like,
Yeah.
like, so what else, like,
Yeah.
what else
Yeah.
do you do? Like,
Yeah.
you know, and they're like, really? So, and then kind of the
Yeah,
rest was
no.
the rest was history from there. It was Ken and I.
And Justin came, he came to Pitt. He came to coach with us because I think Laney was done maybe, or, you know, he was doing the younger team with, team he was. Anyhow, I just remember I was like, dude, when I would say to him, like, man, you're really hard on her, it was from personal experience. I was really hard on Savannah, and Savannah pulled away from the game. You know what I mean? I was really hard on Joey, and he gravitated to the game.
Yeah.
Each kid's different,
Everyone
you
ticks
know?
different. And girls are different too.
And so my experience with my daughter, I mean, now looking back, he did everything. She's right where she needs to be.
Yeah.
You know? But one of the nicest kids, always smiling, always go. And I used to call her Crutches because when I met her was when she had broken her, I think she was still playing soccer. And I remember they're like, hey, I don't think she likes that nickname. And I was like, okay, cool. Sorry. You know, like, I was just trying to meet all the girls.
Make
you know?
light of,
so
like,
then
the
she
situation.
became Ocho because she was number 8.
Mhm.
So it's funny now if Russ and I are ever done with it, because, you know, she got hurt last year. I'm like, hey, and he's, oh, good news. Ocho's feeling better. Ocho's doing good. Ocho. So it's just funny, you know, that you have some pretty cool kids that you coach.
They're easy to root on. Like I said, they're just good kids.
Yeah. Yeah. I think I had sent you some questions. I was trying to think of one of them, but more or less, like, where do you see recruiting now with the most recent changes? I don't think softball was hit as bad as baseball. And unless you keep up on baseball, you wouldn't know, but they shrunk the roster size. They increased the limits for scholarships. So people were like, oh, super exciting. Now we can get more scholarships, but only if the school can afford it. But they shrunk the roster. So they made the teams in baseball, it's going to be really hard to get into a powerhouse or even a mid-major because of filtering down. Have you seen anything like that for softball?
No, I'm undecided on that. I'm just going to see how that plays out. To like, what does that mean? Is that more kids in JUCO, or, you know, how to, like, just kind of seeing how that, and for some, that's really the route they should go because they're not maybe quite ready.
Right.
I'm not sure about that one.
Yeah, I think time will tell.
Exactly. Well said. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll have some better knowledge. I mean, I'm trying to think. So Kennedy's coming up September 1.
Mm-hmm.
Now, do you work with Peyton also?
Yep.
Okay, so I don't even think I knew that. Peyton's another great, you know, just she's a hometown hero, right? So it's like easy. But Peyton's coming up September 1st. Ocho. Kennedy's coming up September 1st. Do you have any other pitchers that, I mean, you have a lot of 27s?
Gosh, I'm worried I'm going to forget about someone being on the
No,
spot.
that's fine. No, that's cool. I'm just saying though. So, what will you get involved at all with these kids in this next couple of weeks? I mean, I assume they're going to ask you, but
I'm there just for support.
for sure.
I really am. Just emotional support.
Yeah.
Really through it's kind of a game, right? It's like I'm trying to be available and I want you to know that I'm interested, but also I don't want to tie myself down and commit. It's just that back and forth and then all of a sudden getting
Right.
ghosted. And I just really try to remind them compete.
Yeah.
Easier said than done, right? At times, but just
Right.
really just thinking about competing and just it's gonna fall in line and where like with Roxy, like when she was going through all of that and she just showed up at a lesson, she's like, I committed. I was like, whoa. And it was kind of unexpected.
For
but
sure.
and the conversation we had before, I said, look, at the end of the day, I was like, you need to go somewhere where you feel wanted. Like, I mean, you could say you're going to XYZ school, all that. I'm not saying you're not capable of that, but I'm like, when someone really wants you, right? And so like those type of conversations, and just kind of the roller coaster of that is just trying to support them.
Yeah. And Gino had touched on that. So, I mean, I know I can say it because he said it. It's like, some of the schools really messed with her, which was shitty. They would, and I can speak for Joey, I mean, remember Florida texting him at school, like, hey, what are you going to do? And it was like, whoa, hold on. Like, he's in class, what I mean? Like, and there is a part where I do understand it's a business. And then as a parent, I understand that you're an adult talking to a child.
Right.
And so, I don't think, in my professional opinion or in my adult maturity opinion, there's an excuse to ghost a player.
I agree.
Just
give them the decency. Like, I don't know, just rip the Band-Aid off and just tell me how it is.
Yeah, because if you're going to ghost me, that means you have me at a lower part than I have you. Because I feel a certain way about, the word ghosting, right?
But don't love bomb me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like in the beginning and then just all of a sudden, I mean.
I understand the recruiting is negotiating, right?
Mm-hmm.
And when you ask me for my best price, you're just trying to get me down so you can get to your best price. But I do want to, there should be a level of professional,ism and it's really just common decency.
Like for a teenage kid.
Gosh, yeah. And I know some of these coaches will say, oh, well, I'm talking to, how many pitchers are you talking? Are you talking to 20? I mean, if you're talking to 20, that's a lot, but you can still respond to 20 people.
Right.
You're not talking to 200.
Right.
I don't think, you know what I mean? Your recruiting class is like 7. I don't know.
Right.
Last year we went to Georgia and their recruiting coordinator was awesome. He was so cool. He does a great social media. I mean, he's really cool. But I remember asking him, I said, hey, cause the rules were getting ready to change. And for the boys, it's August 1st. And I said, hey, how many kids did you call at midnight? Just why not ask, right?
Yeah.
And he goes, I think it was too many. I said, how many, I think it was 63. Now between him and the team,
like lifting the veil, like what's really going on behind the scenes.
And I was like, whoa. Now in the boys' world, the recruiting class can be up to 20, 22 sometimes. Softball, not so much. So when I give these numbers, 20, I feel like I have some generic base, you know what I mean? Of like, hey, you have your list, It's the same thing we went through with MLB draft this year. The list was 200, right? And then they're like, because all the other 30 teams are picking, and it probably goes to really like 500, but just you're trying to be, hey, am I in the top 200? Because
right.
Boom, boom, boom. Before you know it, 60
it's wild.
It's insane. So with that, I feel like this whole thing started because of that. And I didn't want to shame anybody. Because A, I'm a professional and B, I'm not a D1 college coach and I don't have the weight on me to know what it's like to lose a $100, $300, $1 million a year job that's based on these things. So I can only imagine, but I do feel like as a human being, as a parent, as a person who does handle some very heavy situations, I can give a call back.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
Yeah. And so
I wish it was that way.
I wish it was too, and I think as parents talk, you know, this whole podcast, the blogs, they were intended to be helpful for us to kind of, like you said, you know, pull back the curtain or
Mhm.
reveal like, hey, you know, what was your experience? Because sometimes, at least I found that certain parents just maybe they weren't as open as me, but sometimes I felt like, why are you holding on to that information? Like, just share it.
Like, there's no secret, like, to where, I mean, it's like, if you're good, you're good. You're gonna get recruited, you know what I mean? But it's like the process, it's like, I don't know, it's refreshing, like, this podcast because it's like, yeah, I am going a little crazy. Yeah, I'm feeling a little stressed out. Like, for people to share that, it's like, I'm not the only one that's feeling
Yeah.
like my kid could be a stud, right? But it's like, yeah, she's getting no call, you know, back for after being
Oh my
just
gosh.
completely, it's not a you problem. It's just kind of the game of recruiting itself.
You know, the best example was Coach Alistair at Stanford. She was great.
Mhm.
I really liked her. She had invited Savannah to these different camps, and then you know that was Savannah's goal. Was like, hey, I'm going to go to Stanford. We grew up there, and she wanted to go
I
there.
wanted to go to Stanford too.
Yeah, and we went to all these camps. You know, we went to all these things, and she got a shirt with her name on it. This and that, and then nothing.
Yeah.
And it was like, and then we were with Joe, and Joe goes, oh, hey, she called me, but I couldn't call her back because I was doing something. And then he couldn't get a call back from her, you know? And I was like, man, like, we've been there 5 times, you know? And it's not a knock on her. I'm sure, by the way, she was at the time, right? Nigeri was leaving. So she was losing what was probably the best player she's ever had that really helped her. And so back to that whole thing. Like, I don't know what that's like, you know? In hindsight,
That's a blow.
In the hindsight,
Losing that one.
Yeah, it was the best thing because it helped Savannah understand that you can do everything right, and sometimes it doesn't go right, you know, or it doesn't go the way you thought it was going to go, or whatever. And what I mean by that is like she tried to continue with her AP classes and this and that, and it wasn't her thing.
That's such a great point though, because it's like you have that tunnel vision. Yeah, like
Mhm.
it sounds like she had that tunnel vision. There's nothing wrong with like having those goals, but it's like that opened my eyes to something else that's maybe just a better fit for me actually in the long run.
Yeah, I mean, it was her journey was wild. We were at Mizzou in Minnesota, and she's like, "Yeah, I want to be in the snow. I want to be in the snow." And okay, cool. Like we don't live in the snow, so I don't know why you'd want to be in the snow.
Want to shovel snow before you
Yeah,
go for it?
yeah. Like okay,
Go for it.
And so we went to those places, and she liked them. And then when we went to Coastal, it was like this. Well, let's go. You know, they're inviting us out. Let's go. And then we met, and we're like, whoa. And it was cool that we had been to a couple other places. She also got to go on some of her brother's visits. So she was very fortunate to see a full spectrum of schools.
Yeah.
And when we were there, she's like, oh my gosh, it's 20 minutes from the beach. I love the beach. Oh, my Jeep would fit in here.
Oh,
I love, yeah. And she was like, oh. And so now she's just so excited, you know, and
Awesome.
I think she's like, hey, you can take biology when you come here. You know, we have a thing for you that you can do what you want to do. But just most importantly, they really wanted her. You know, they called her at
I
midnight.
noticed it a few times, like they feel it
You feel it, you know, and it was like,
by their actions, they're calling and staying with you. Yeah.
yeah, I think, you know, people, we were, Angel, you asked me about the students being in college now. And one of the moms, Joey's roommates, and they were saying like, it's like, she said, hey, do your kids text you, you know, from school? Do they call you? She goes, it's like a bad breakup. Like they only call you when you need something, you know, because you're always trying to get them and so I guess that would be my advice is like, hey, if the interactions with that coaching staff feels like
Boyfriend.
you're the toxic boyfriend, right? Or you're the if you feel like you're the needy one and you're not getting then guess
Two-way
what?
street.
It's probably not a great fit for you.
Great point.
It should feel like a mutual good relationship.
Two-way street.
Yeah, and it doesn't mean that coach is always going to answer you right away. It doesn't mean that they're going to
I don't know how they do it all, frankly.
oh my gosh.
I don't.
Yeah, it's wild.
You're thinking a year ahead, 2 years, it's just wild. So I do give a little grace, you know what I mean? Like
Yes.
to that conversation we had earlier about just like, hey, give me a call. I also get like, it's like you're thinking year, 2, 3 years ahead. It's a lot.
You know, I'll even give you this much. So we had the visits for Joey were way different than the visits for Savannah. Now, granted, pitcher and money goes to pitchers and money goes to
Right.
play, you know, and softball budgets, right? Big school, small school, medium school, whatever. And Tito's getting in on this. He's like, hey, I kind of like you. And so we go to Coastal, and I had to pay for parking. And I was so upset about the parking.
Excuse me.
Oh my gosh. I was so upset about the parking, right? And like, it almost ruined the trip for us. And Angel's like, will you shut up about the parking?
Being a little bit of a prince.
Yes, because I had just gotten done with like this steak dinner
Wine and dine.
these fancy hotel rooms and stuff. And oh my God, I can't wait to go back out. I pay for parking every day of the week, because what came after that was such a great, awesome, enjoying experience. And they had explained to us, hey, this is what we're being told by our people that we can pay for and what we can't pay for. And this is considered something. And I'm like, why am I such an asshat?
That reminds me of Moneyball, like when they go, have you seen that movie?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
And he's like, we have to pay for soda here?
Yes, yes. Shout out to Daryl King, my old partner. He was the center fielder in that movie. Oh, do you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Wait, maybe I'm thinking of a different Daryl. Wait, I know another Daryl King, but maybe not the Daryl King.
If there's a cop, then maybe you know him, but.
No, different Daryl King.
That's right, yeah. So, just funny that, each experience. And by the way, like, not to always harp on these players, but all your pitchers, some are going to get, 3 visits. Some might get 1 visit. Some might just get a bunch of phone calls and say, hey, come back out, I think as parents, you owe it to your kid, if you've gone through all this stuff, if you can afford it. I'm not saying take out a loan on your house for it, but like, if you can get to these events where you are invited, it is nice to have someone to try and mentor you and say, hey, these are the ones that are worth it, because they're not always worth it.
Yeah. And definitely, I think finding a program where you have a liaison or, college liaison that really kind of knows the right fit for your kid too, is like, you're not wasting your time and resources too. I think that's so important, to where it's like, okay, well, I want to go play at UCLA. I'm like, okay, well, you got a 2.5 GPA. That's not, obviously that's like a really extreme, like that's kind of Captain Obvious, but you know what I'm saying, to where it's like really finding that grouping of schools and kind of like where you need to be aligned as a player too. I think that's super important too, like on liaison side, and really just kind of seeing the vision, I guess, like where you kind of would land too.
100%. I mean, there's even the dynamic, and I've talked this about one of the pitchers that you coach with their parents, just like some schools don't give athletic money. You have to financially qualify, and that school's super expensive.
Mm-hmm.
And it's really hard to get into. And so those were things we learned along the way that, how would I know that? Harvard is not going to give you a full ride unless you make less than 100 and X amount of dollars.
Are you okay with that?
And
like real, like student loans, like real life, like after you graduate, like, I mean, going to Harvard is pretty awesome, but like I said, reality though of it.
Yes. There's a couple diplomas still left in the world that matter. And there's a couple alumni that are worth paying for. Now, I don't know if you can get into Harvard and maybe you just do it because it's Harvard, right? It's Stanford. It's pretty cool. But I don't know if, let me use this example. Stanford and University of San Diego are 2 awesome schools in their own right. And I would argue that Stanford's diploma is probably much better than San Diego diploma in the sense of like, hey, I went to Stanford. Cool. Oh, I went to San Diego. Oh, which one? San Diego State, UC San Diego, blah, blah. But they'll cost you the exact same.
I didn't know that.
Oh yeah.
Learned something new.
So LMU, right? Oh, I went to LMU. You're like, oh, what is that? Like, where is that?
Mm-hmm.
What does that mean? Well, that costs us some private tuition and their guidelines for what they'll give you and stuff. And so those are the things we learned that I like to share with people, where I'm like, yeah, hey, LMU, I'd never been there until January of this year. Joey had an event down there, and it was gorgeous.
Stunning.
It was gorgeous. But it's, I think it's $83,000 a year to go to school there. That does not involve the Starbucks counter that I saw absolutely littered with to-go orders and the kids walking around and, Syracuse is the same price as LMU is the same. It's.
So you're more in the know than I am on that stuff.
I think it's more than that. I think it was like 93,000 because New York, you have to have a special type of medical insurance that you need if you're the student there, even though you're from. It's
Whoa.
because I looked into all this stuff, right? And so, once again, like this whole podcast, like just sharing information,
Yeah.
you know. And I was like, oh my gosh. Now I bet we never went to Syracuse. I'm sure it's gorgeous. I'm sure it is, but I'm sure LMU is probably more gorgeouser. I'll show you my college education, but like I'd rather walk around in shorts and flip flops all year and never deal with the snow.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, so just there's those kind of things. I think
those checks and balance. It's just
and it's like I don't know. I mean, the softball world, obviously Texas Tech kind of flipped this on their head with all the recruiting stuff, but like there's a handful of schools you can go to and truly feel like we may be able to win a national title.
Right.
In the last 5 years, it's Oklahoma, and then there's one or two.
Sure.
But now I would say, you know, there's 8, 9 with the way it's working out. Let's call it 10. You know, so if you're not looking at winning a national championship and you're thinking, I want to play at an awesome school, awesome vibe, whatever, there's tons of opportunity. There's a gazillion schools you can do that at. So that's probably what you need to determine. I don't know. I'm asking more than I'm telling.
No, I just think that you just got to see where it goes back to when you know.
Yeah.
I think really though, like that clock, even though that's super stressful during the journey of the recruiting, that clock
100%.
really does, like when it's ticking down to like, you know, game time and like making a decision, it's kind of good because it kind of gives you clarity of really because you're just so open in the very beginning to like, yeah, I'm cool with going out of state or living in the snow or whatever it is. But that clock is going to tick down and you're really it becomes a reality, you know, of, okay, am I okay going out of state?
Yeah. I mean, it's hard. Like to get to Joey, to get to Savannah is going to be even harder, even though you fly right into Myrtle Beach. It's a 20-minute, it's like right there. But there's a connecting flight. Now with Joey, we just because we do Southwest, we fly into Tulsa. It's a 2-hour drive over, but it's a nice 2 hours. I guess I'm going to say, but like going through Oklahoma, Arkansas, it's actually not clean, ugly. Like, it's pretty. Yeah. It's like clean. There's some mountain range you go through and some farmland you go through. But
is it like an easier just drive?
Super simple. Yeah, super simple. It feels like you could ride it on a bicycle. You know, I'm not going to ride that, but I'm just saying like you could. You know.
Right.
So that's where those visits for us came into play. Georgia was a good example. Campus was gorgeous. Athens was gorgeous. Getting from Atlanta to Athens, not that bad. Going through the Atlanta airport was the nail in the coffin. It's the most busiest airport in the world. So until you've done it, you know, and then not only until you've done it, until you think, can my kid get from there to the airport, navigate the airport, then get home for Thanksgiving during one of the busiest times of year or Christmas or whatever?
Going through the gauntlet there.
I mean, it's like, whoa, you know? And so
what conference is Savannah in? We'll be in.
She'll be in the Sun Belt Conference, the SBC.
Okay.
So there was some conversation that they may, a conversation rumor, I don't know, like that they may go to the ACC, but that would be, I don't know if that's really true or not. Their football team did really well a couple times. Obviously, the baseball teams, they won a national championship. They were just in the national championship. So they are really, they're on the up and come, I think. They just did a new football.
Exciting.
Yeah, it's really cool. An indoor football thing, a facility, indoor. And then their game, people always ask me, oh, hey, we went to Georgia, Oklahoma, Tennessee, obviously Arkansas. We saw some big time football games. And my funnest game was the Coastal Carolina game. And the reason why I liked it more is because I say I like people, but I don't think I like a lot of people. Those games, the SEC football games, they were on a different planet.
Just like the tailgate.
Different planet.
It's just different.
It was, if I thought the Atlanta airport was busy, you had never seen anything. Because especially the Oklahoma game, the Oklahoma versus Tennessee was Oklahoma's opening weekend to being an SEC team.
Fun.
The seats we got, you could not sit in them. So there was so many people in the stadium, and like Sid was there, and she was doing her. They were doing a recruitment thing also, but we had to stand where you would stand, and then someone was standing on the seat that I was supposed to be sitting on, and then someone was standing on the floor behind them, and then someone was
Truly standing room only.
It was insane.
And there's people that don't even go in. They're just there for the
tailgate was insane.
Yeah.
The tailgate was insane. At the Coastal game, it obviously was not. There's not that many seats. You know, I mean, it's a full stadium and stuff like that. But when we sat down, we were sitting next to like the players' parents, and as a player's parent, that was so cool. You know, the punt returner had this great run. His mom's cheering,
too.
And you could listen to like what they were saying. They had a full DJ. Like it was
Fun.
a really cool. It was a cool. It was almost like if you go to an A's game or you go to the Potters game. Sometimes you go to a Potters game or something like a low A or triple A, whatever you want to call it, type of venue, and you're like, oh, this feels more organic and like cool. Like now, obviously, Georgia Bulldogs are so fun to watch, but it's 100,000 people, you know, and it's like.
So did you just feel more like connected a little bit?
A little bit more connected.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what I mean? And so like this year, I think Parents Week in Arkansas is for Arkansas Notre Dame. Like, oh, are you going to go to that? I'm like, dude, that's going to be a madhouse. Like, I might go to the bar and watch the game. I don't think I'm going to go to the stadium.
I'm the same way now. I'm like large crowds. I'm like, okay, like stimulation overload.
Yeah, overstimulated.
But if I do it, I just need to like go in a cave in my room after.
Yeah. But you know, you had said that earlier in the day, right? You're like, hey, I thought I want to go to school, big football stuff. Now, as a student, you're not. We're parents now, so now it's just like, you know.
No, I'm a grumpy old woman now.
Yeah. Yeah. She's just like, oh, but for the parents, you know, it is cool to go to that stuff. And
it's
some
a college
people,
atmosphere. It's just the hype of it all.
They love it. And so
the pride in the school, all in the town behind it. It's just super cool.
I also feel like something that you miss a little bit with getting recruited is you go to football games and your kid's not a football player. So what we did is we went to, and we'll do it this year, is we will go for a Coastal series.
Perfect.
To go see the softball team play, you know, and see what they're all about and see how the coaches are. No, we're not. You just want to experience
like
it.
The student section, you know, like who's showing up, like to support all.
How many people are there?
Yeah.
You know, because for baseball, it was cool. We went to the A&M series this year and it was awesome. It was like, you could just see Joey's like, I can't wait to be the guy there. You know what I mean? Be in the dugout, be playing. And you're like, all right, sweet. You know, so I think knowing that now, if you're a freshman, a sophomore, and you're not getting recruited yet because of the way it is, or maybe you're getting mailers or whatever, I would go to these schools if you can. You know what I mean?
I always did. Like I said, back in the olden days, ASA Nationals was a different state every time. We would always go to what the local university was there and take advantage of that. So like if you happen to be, you know, visiting cousin in Arkansas or whatever, go visit, just get on campus and take bonus points. If you happen to run into practice, that would be pretty convenient. But yeah, just take advantage of that.
And I think, I mean, I guess now that I'm saying it out loud, it's like, well, how do I go to a college game when my kid's playing the game? And that is true. You know, we had to miss a game and it kind of caused a little bit of fallout, you know, in the high school season because we went to a baseball series and yeah, it sucked, but like, it's what we needed to do, you know, for our family and for what we were doing. And so sometimes you have to make that tough decision. You have to wear that, you know, but I think for softball, you know, we haven't talked about it yet, but I would like to do that.
Right.
You know, go and you can go catch some of these preseason games and you can do it.
Yeah. And well, what I did is, I forget what it's called. Is it the Cathedral Classic down in Palm Springs?
Yeah. There's a big softball.
That's a huge tournament.
What they call?
I think it's a cathedral. Don't quote me on that.
Yeah, I'm trying to think.
But down in Palm Springs, I went down to that. And I've actually had a few of my pitchers do that. I think it was like in the 8th grade. And you're getting kind of schools and you're not on campus, but you're getting
But you get to see how the coaches interact
with
the players. That's what you're looking for.
So valuable. Yeah, but that was cool because, I mean, you get not just all like West Coast schools. Yeah,
I think that is huge because you get to see just what these people tell you when they're recruiting you versus like how they're talking to the players? Because you know your vibe, or
They're all tough.
Yeah.
They're all tough. I mean, but just some, like their communication style, it varies, but in delivery. But they're all tough. I mean, in their own, when I say tough, I mean expectations. I mean, like we got to win, right?
Yeah.
But you get a real feel like are they more kind of like quiet stoic type? Are they a little more vocal? Like just kind of what I think fits for you. But that was really cool going when I was in 8th grade and seeing, I'm like thinking, these chicks are huge. Like,
yeah.
like, but I have to remember, I mean, it's like, okay, your job is to be an athlete, right?
Yeah.
The weight room, all of that.
Well, that brings up a great point. We often talk about size and things like that. Savannah is just under 6 foot. Joey's 6'5". They're like big, tall kids. And so when Joey showed up on campus, he was just one of many.
Normal.
Yeah. And so I think I was thinking about this over the weekend. We went to batting practice, and I was like, man, it's going to be fun for Savannah when she shows up at campus. BP for her will be a fun time for her. So I guess my question to you is like, how much do you think parents should look at the athlete? Because I know coaches have like stereotypes and stuff like that, but do you think that's still a thing? Like, hey, if you're a 6 foot, 200-pound player and you don't see any 6 foot, 200-pound players, how much does that matters?
I think if God gave it to you and you use it, absolutely an advantage.
Yeah.
But it doesn't mean, I mean, you see it all the time. A big, tall girl, smaller girls throwing a little harder. But maybe she just hasn't peaked yet, that taller girl. I mean, I just don't, it's shifted a lot, like the stereotypical pitcher body that you have to be, which is great. But if you've got those levers and you use them, heck yeah, it's something you got to work with that can be an advantage if you're using it right.
Yeah.
But
do you think coaches though look at players like, let me put in a better example. I remember Savannah really liked Pat Murphy at Alabama. And I was often like, because when she was growing up,
always been big.
They're big. And Savannah was
always
big. And his players.
I remember being at that Palm Springs tournament. I was like, holy cow. Like they're athletes, but just built like an ox, just big girls.
And he's a great dude. I really liked him. I got to meet him. And, but so that's what I'm asking is
it's gotta be. I can't tell you that, but I think there's gotta be like, given like, you're just kind of seeing
and then like if you look at Washington, for instance, Heather Tarr, she seems to like that skinny, thin, athletic girl, right? That just runs and the slapper or whatever, whatever it is. But it's just like, oh, I don't see any of the players that I see at Alabama at Washington. Right. Now, both programs are phenomenal. So I think that you can look in the SEC for baseball. Hey, last week I had Matt Jones on. He was saying, yeah, you know who Jose Altuve is? He's a shortstop for the Astros. Yeah. Really, really small.
Yeah.
So if you have a really small player, you go, you're fine. Don't worry, Timmy. You can also, because look at Jose Altuve. And so Matt was saying, hey, and he coached at UCLA. And so he's saying, show me 3. You know what I mean? If you can show me 3, then okay, we have a thing, Otherwise, that dude is just like Aaron Judge. If you have someone that's 6'7", you're like, man, you should probably play basketball. Oh, no, I can still do it. Look at Aaron Judge. Like, he's one,
Exceptions to the rule.
Shohei Ohtani. Everybody wants to be a two-way. It's like one guy on the planet, that can
the freaks of nature.
Freaks of nature. Yeah. So if you know your kid and they're a freak of nature, maybe, but the numbers are probably not in your favor. And it doesn't mean you have to eliminate things. All I'm saying is that I think as parents, you have to be somewhat you have to pull off your rose-colored lenses and say, okay, does my kid fit what looks to be the profile of this program?
That's a good point.
Yeah. I don't know.
Because you're 100% right. Like you look at it like, yeah, that program likes bigger girls, or whatever. I mean, it's nothing against it.
You look at some people are buffed, and you're like, whoa.
I mean, buffed. At that like Division I level, like even the small ones, they're just tanks. They're so super strong. I mean, they're all strong, but again, like they like some tall pitchers, or that's just kind of maybe they don't even realize it. Maybe they do.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, but that's what they're gravitating towards, and that's what it is.
I can think of a guy who I really like, and he coaches, and his daughter was a phenomenal pitcher, and she still pitches. And he can be crabby at sometimes, but
He's a pitcher's dad.
Yeah, he's a pitcher's dad. That's right. Just like everybody. And I think his thing is he still feels that like, hey, you have to be this big, tall pitcher to be a pitcher, because that's what his daughter was, I guess. And so, but some of those old stereotypes, you have to understand, like, if the coach is old or they've been doing a long time, they know it works for them. And so, you might be trying to fit a square peg into a round hole.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I just think that you just can't. Yeah. Well said. I just don't. You're born a certain way. I mean, work with what you got.
Yeah.
And again, you're going to align with what's right for you school wise.
Yeah. That's a good point. That it will come to you.
Yeah. But the strength and conditioning, that was a harsh reality for me.
Was it?
Horrible.
Yeah. Now,
kids are way more prepared now, which is great. I just see like way more, like we're talking about like training to be athletes. I'm seeing, which is great. Just seeing, I think just keeps them healthy. A little confidence, a little edge on the field, and just performance too. But I see a lot more just being available for teenage kids, like when it comes to just strength and conditioning, which is great. Yeah.
That was something that was cool at Firecrackers. We used to have that component there.
Yeah.
That was really good. And their weight training there is probably one of the harder ones, I think, in college, because they have a dedicated guy. And so, but he's put on 15 pounds and it all looks like it's in his thighs.
Good freshman 15.
Yeah. Like It's not like he still has a six pack. He's still lean and whatever, but he's up 15 pounds in 6 weeks. And I'm like, holy crap.
Yeah.
Like,
The fall is that's all. I mean, remember, you're just hitting it hard.
Yeah. They're kind of just like,
you're just dying.
It's the foundation.
You're dying.
Yeah. Yeah. What kind of workouts do you think pitchers are doing now in the softball world?
I'm seeing just more like, less of like, I think I see some more like specific kind of geared towards pitching, but just a little bit more well-rounded, not just being a pitcher workout, just being well-rounded, being quick on their feet, agility, things like that. I see them just being trained like athletes, which I think is good.
Mm-hmm. That's cool. Have you seen like,
I kind of outsource that. I kind of stay out of that.
Yeah. Well, it's a different world, right?
Yeah. I mean,
strength and conditioning coach.
I just literally, me in school, I was just being told what to do and just scared.
Well, I think, now, there's a professional.
It's a professional for that
person. There's a profession, it's like, it would be like you giving hitting lessons, right?
Yeah.
Everybody
I did hit, but yeah, no.
But everybody would think that's silly, right? Your pitching
100%.
coach giving you hitting lessons. It's the same thing. Like your pitching coach giving you weight lift. They can, and there's certain criterias. Hey, this is a routine. But I think if you can get a specific,
it makes such a big difference, though. I really, not to get too cheesy, but I finally kind of understood, like after playing, is that it's like, okay, because like if you cut corners in the gym, you're going to cut corners on the field. I'm like, okay, I'm just dying. I'm trying to survive. But when you have to kind of get, you hit a wall and you have to work through that. It does. Like, it just takes, I think, a mental part of you to like work through hard things on that. And just not just the physical, but the mental part of that too. Cause it's just, for me at least, it was just brutal and horrible the whole time.
We often have this saying is like, how you do something is how you do everything.
Right.
And I hate it because I'm like, well, I'm really lazy at some shit. And sometimes I'm not lazy at, but it
translates.
It translates. Because if you don't give 110% and you're always trying to not touch the lines, when you're running lines.
The exact scenario happened. You're not touching the line. I'm going 3 feet over the line because I don't want to keep running.
Yeah. And then you realize that when you're tired in the 7th inning and you're trying to get through it, you're like, cool, hey, just finish strong.
It really is a mental like push through. For sure. It stinks, but again, like, going through that in college, like, what your daughter and your son are going to go through, like, it just bonds you going through that too as a team.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure. I think you hit on the head. You spend time with those college people, they become your bridesmaids or your best men. And
so many inside jokes, so many like bus rides, just fun.
Yeah. And no one else lived it. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
Like, you guys lived it. Have you heard of any, has the hazing or the freshman interactions, is that
one that's illegal?
Yeah.
But I never experienced that or anything like that, but who knows? I'm sure you got to be careful with that stuff. I mean,
Yeah.
like,
I just meant more like treat like.
I went to the dark side on that one.
But that was our era, right? Where like people were getting like, crazy stuff, and even like leaving the sorority weekend, like, all the girls had to wear
that's
fancy dresses and
that's
heels.
not bad. That's harmless.
Yeah, but I was really impressed that Joey's team, the freshmen hang out with the big dog juniors, and it was just really cool. I was like, oh, Angel, I had talked about that. Like, it's not high school anymore. The freshman high school guy that gets kind of, shunned or whatever the right thing is, that these guys are all pulling from the same rope.
Yeah.
And the same side of the rope, and they're like, hey, dude, you're here. You're welcome. Like, obviously don't be an asshat, you know what I mean? But like, we want to win.
Yes. And I'll say this is that, yes to that, but also don't go in too hot. But you're gonna get humbled either way with that. But
So I talk
if that makes sense. If I'm gonna put it
you're
to where
1,000,000%
because
correct.
you're gonna, just being humble, get along with the program, but also,
I learned. Now he's a friend of mine. At the time, we were kind of like, ooh, and he had said something to me when I started in the police world, and he's like, hey man, there's like a pecking order around here, and I was like, what, dude? Relax, get out of here.
Right.
But I know now, 20 years later, I get what he was trying to tell me. Hey, you walk around a little too comfortable. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or you act like you've already been doing this. And there's like,
it's a hard balance. It's like you're going in the lion's den a little bit there, to where it's like highly competitive, but you got to really bond with your teammates. And it's like everyone, like my bridesmaid, like her and I best friends, but is she going to take my job? No.
Yeah.
And she would say the same thing about me, right? It's unspoken, right? But it's like, if I'm coming in like that to where it's just like, one, you're going to get humbled real quick, but just like, you got to really bond with your teammates because you're spending a lot of time together, and that's not going to go over very well. You just got to be about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And just work.
Did you work with Kylie Shay?
Yeah.
Yeah. So Christy and I grew up together. So all of us are from the same thing. And
she's like the little sister I never had.
Yeah. She's such a nice kid.
Yeah.
I remember she came out and would pitch to Savannah when they met. We kind of like introduced them. And then she just dominated Sav one game when she was pitching at St. Brandt's. I was like, whoa, she was good. So hopefully, did she know is she doing something this year, or what has she got going on?
No, actually, we were supposed to meet up like a couple of weeks ago, and it never happened. But
check out. Did look like they went to a concert. I'm just a great kid.
Yeah.
She's
doing pitching. She's doing pitching lessons right now.
Yeah, of course she is. Of course she is. And
she'd be a great coach.
Yeah, and Christy and I grew up together with my wife. My wife and I have been together since high school, but she's another, man, you have some good kids, like you said, easy to root for. And so, I think you touched on everything. Anything else you got going on?
No, this is great.
Are you expanding? Like, how often do you take on new clients and stuff like that?
Kind of cut things off a little bit right now. I feel like I'm at capacity right now. Okay. Yeah. Where I'm at and how much I want to do, like lessons wise, like what I kind of want to do. Cause I also want my mommy time too.
No. What grade is your daughter in?
Third grade.
You're right in the thick of she starts to become who there's plenty of time for that, but she's starting to become who she's going to become. Yeah. Does that make sense?
Totally. No complaint. I've got the best job in the world. I can take time off, all of that, but just, I'm happy where I'm at numbers wise, like to where just the amount of kids I'm working with and be able to really
I was talking to a guy yesterday. He started his own company, and I was saying, at one point, if you're too busy, then you're too cheap. You know what I mean? And you have to start raising prices because, like, you don't raise prices, then your insurance goes up, and the cost of gas goes up, and everything else. So
it's uncomfortable, but yeah.
No, that's cool. Well, thank you so much for coming out.
Having me.
Yeah, no, it was awesome. I appreciate you reaching out, and hopefully this will be helpful to some pitchers and what they're going to get ready to go through. And yeah, we got, I don't know, it's about 10 days, maybe 11 days until September 1st.
Off the races.
Then you'll see all the parents that we just talked about biting their fingernails.
Meltdown begins.
Yeah. All right, cool. Well, thank you.
Thank you.
All right.